In this section, you're going to learn some tips and tools for creating a missing work document using Google Slides. So initially when we started remote learning, we had a missing work document that looked something like this. It was not very professional looking, and it didn't give a whole lot of information. So as time kind of extended and we worked from home longer and longer, we decided we needed something that was a little bit more user-friendly. We found that one of the biggest problems we had was that students maybe missed a deadline, missed an assignment in multiple classes, became overwhelmed, and didn't know where to go to find work. And so by consolidating everything into this one slide, it was pretty helpful for students to be able to access the work and get it turned in the most user-friendly way possible. And so this is called our lists and links for 7th grade world studies. And the way we created this was using a table on Google Slides. The way that it's set up is that we have two columns. In the first column, we have lesson details. If you did the session Mrs. Walters put up about organizing your week, these types of things will look familiar. So all of the lessons are linked in the first column. So you can see that first link, for example, in our literature unit, looks something like this. And this is what students would get in real time. So this is what they should have been working on, and it gives all of the assignments and missing work. Now, if a student didn't do that, they might come back to this document and find and access that information. So all the weekly information, lessons, and assignments are linked under lesson details. Anything that was graded we have over here in this second column. So this is anything in PowerSchool, and this is important because it helps students to sort out what they need to do for the grade. Obviously, doing the lesson comes first so that they can complete the assignment, but this lets them know what they have to do. And so, for example, this was one of the assignments, that they had to get done, and this was a grade in PowerSchool. And so they were able to quickly and easily access it to complete the assignment. So once they completed the assignment, we found that we were getting lots and lots and lots of emails with, "This is done, when will you grade it? I finished this last week, why isn't it graded?" If we were not given a heads up that it was completed, then it was difficult to stay on top of grading. And so this third element here was another helpful tool for this. And so this link right here is to a Google form. And in this Google form, you'll see a list of all the assignments that were in PowerSchool. So once a student completed this Google form, completed the missing assignment, they would go to the Google form, select the assignment that they completed late, and then click submit. And so there is an understanding between the students and the teachers that any missing work that was completed late would be graded, but it would be graded on Fridays. So once students realized they had a missing assignment, they could come here, look at the lessons, find the link to the missing work, complete it, and then on the third step, complete the form letting us know that the work was done. And that was a heads up knowing, hey, this is ready to grade. So this was very helpful and something that I think might be a good tool to use in the classroom. So in order to create these, you have first to open up a new Google slide. Now, because you'll have a lot of lessons going on, however long, maybe you're remote learning or setting up a blended classroom, there'll probably be quite a few different lessons you have. You're going to want to make your slides a sort of longer, a different shape. And so if you go to File and find Page Setup, you'll see that it's initially going to start as Standard. You want to change it to Custom, and you can make it 10 by 12 inches. Once you do that, you'll see that your slide is sort of elongated so that you can have a longer list of work. Now, we're one subject, 7th grade social studies, so we have one slide. An elementary school teacher may want to create multiple slides for math, social studies, science, and ELA. If you're teaming, you might want to have a social studies slide, an ELA slide, a math slide, and a science slide so that all the different work can be listed in one place. And that helps kids to organize, and it also ends up making your life a little bit easier too. Okay, so if you look at our example, you'll see that we have a title, a table, and lots of links. And so we can start by creating our table. So the first thing you want to do is go to Insert, and you would like to insert a table. And we have ours with two sections. One is the lessons, the second is what's in PowerSchool. And so I'm going to create the sample the same way. So we'll make it, and you'll see the table pop up. And it's really easy to size the table. You just drag it to the size that you want. So I want to make my first column my header. So I'm going to title it by highlighting both cells, right-clicking, and then going to merge cells. This puts both cells together so that I can then put in a title. So I'm going to center it. I'm going to give it a fun font, increase the size, and I'm going to call it Social Studies Lists and Links. Okay, and so now I have my table created. I can make this fun. I can color it by going to my little paint can. I can drop some colors. Maybe I want to make this Avon Lake colors. And so I'll go ahead and, and make my font a different color. And so it looks a little nicer. Okay, so I'm going to make my column with the assignments a little bit smaller than the actual assignments. And so I just move those cells over. I'm going to format them all the same and give it a title. So if you look at our example, we have lesson details, assignment name, and PowerSchool. And this is important to be consistent because a lot of times, without meaning to, I found that I'll talk about an assignment or assign it, but then give it a slightly different name in PowerSchool. It's confusing for students, so just make sure that you have everything sort of uniform. So I have lesson details and assignments in PowerSchool. Okay, so I have these created. I'm going to underline, bold, maybe make the font a little bit bigger because it is my title. And then I can start inserting my different assignments. So you can create this however you present information. Maybe you do it weekly, maybe you do it daily, however you set that up, whatever works for you. We found that weekly works well for us because students who like to work ahead could work ahead. Students who chose to just work on a day-by-day basis also could easily do that. And so if you did the organization slides, you might already have something like this created. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this example, and I'll call this September 1st to September 4th. And these are my lessons. So in order to link them, all I have to do is type in the lesson, and then I find my little link. So it looks sort of like a paperclip over here. Click that, and I paste the link to that slideshow in. And now I have a link to that round of lessons in there. So that's what I'm teaching. Those are the videos, those are the readings, those are the things that the students have to do, but maybe not necessarily are graded. Anything that's graded is going to turn up over here in this section, and this is anything in PowerSchool. So in PowerSchool, for this assignment, for example, they had a vending machine choices that they made to do different assignments on. So I'll copy this and I'll call it Shakespeare vending machine. And again, I'm going to highlight the name of the assignment, put in my link, and paste it. And so now students know this is what they're graded on. This is what's going to be in PowerSchool. This is the important work that they finish. They also know that the information they need to complete this vending machine is all going to be found over here. So this is everything that's taught, everything that needs to be learned. This is anything in PowerSchool. As the quarter goes on, I would just continue to add assignments. So if you're going to do lots of assignments, you may eventually need to add more cells. It's pretty simple. You just click in your last cell, right click, and insert a row below. And if you need to size it, just size it down. And you can add to it in this way. If you need to extend and go into a new slide, it's really easy to do. You would just copy it and paste it into the next slide. Now, one thing that's missing is what we found extremely helpful, and that is the late form assignment. And again, this is what students would submit once they submitted late work. And so this is just a form that's always updated with new assignments. And so in order to add something like that, you can go in and just add a text box. I would fill it with a color so it stands out. You want to make sure that you have a nice bright font so it's easily noticeable, and you call it late work submission form. And so I'll probably even go ahead and make my border extra thick. Maybe I'll make my border red as well, and that way it really stands out. And so at this point, I can link it. So I have my late work form. I copy the link, and again, I highlight the words that I want to be the link, click insert link, and paste it in there. And so now I have a running document. This is a live document that has all the work that students need in order to be successful if you are, again, creating a blended classroom, if you're flipping your classroom, or maybe we're back to remote learning at some point. Some other ways that I would really suggest doing it is consolidating it for a team. So if you're teaming all of your teachers, build on the same form so that, build on these same slides so that work is all in one place, making it easier for students and parents. Elementary, I would create a different slide for each of your main subject areas. It might even be helpful to create one for your specials classes so that all of that work's linked and you have everything in one place, and it makes life a lot easier. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions.